Have you been busy today? Or
Say that again?
have you been busy?
Yeah, I've been running all day. I mean, I had a meeting this morning at like 9:30, and then right after that, I went to like two or three caravans, and then I rushed over here to get on this meeting, and then after this, I got to go take care of some stuff too. So busy, busy day.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah, all good
Awesome.
stuff.
Oh yeah, so just so to let you know like how we structure these calls, basically I'm just gonna ask you like a few questions and like just to get to know you and your business a little bit more. And
Okay.
then I'll go into like a little bit about myself and like my experience. And then afterwards we'll go into like the entire system and then we'll just like answer any questions you have.
All right.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to ask you what motivated you to hop on a call with me today?
Honestly, I don't have a clear motivation. I saw your message, and normally I kind of ignore those, but just for the sake of it, I just went and checked it out and looked at it and kind of looked over your profile a little bit. Noticed you were a younger guy and you had kind of your own business going. And for me, myself, being a realtor, you kind of have to have your own business. I'm only 22, so I'm a younger guy as well.
Hmm.
So I like to help benefit other people where I can, especially when they're in the kind of the same situation as I am. So I think that's kind of why I jumped on, is just to hear you out, hear what you got going on, and then maybe we can help each other out.
Awesome, that's cool. Yeah, I do want to ask you, like, how long have you been in real estate and what got you into it? Because you're 22, so I assume you just like got into
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. So I kind of got into real estate. It was a second option when I was back in high school. I was trying to choose which way I was going to go, and it was either going to be the path of like medical school, trying to be a pediatric, or a psychiatrist, and it was between that and real estate, which I know are like very, very, very different. But the bottom line for me is like I like to help people. I enjoy feeling like I assisted someone get to somewhere they wanted to be.
Mhm.
And for being a doctor, obviously you're helping people that are sick, and especially with kids. I love kids, so that was where my mind was on that. But with real estate, it was more along the lines of helping people find an affordable home. I knew I'd always been kind of pretty good at finding good deals or being able to negotiate good deals because I had bought lots of cars in the past and done all sorts of things as far as sales go. And I knew I could probably, if I had the information and if I had the tools to understand, then the actual selling part of real estate would come pretty easy.
Yeah.
And what the decision process was between medical school and no college at all and just skip college and get my real estate license, what it came down to was the financial aspect of it. I could go to school for 8 years, be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt,
Right.
run the risk of not even getting into medical school,
Right.
and then you have residency and all that, and then by the time you're actually making money, you have all of this to pay off. You're working terrible hours, you don't have time for your family. Or I could try to get into real estate super, super early and maybe find my footing 4 or 5 years in,
Mhm.
and then hopefully not have a ton of debt and be making a decent amount of money and still be helping people. So that was the route I took. I've been doing it for about realistically 1 year. I've been licensed for 2 years, but during my first year, I got licensed during COVID. So a lot
Mhm.
of things were changing. And I was with this one brokerage. I was with Keller Williams in Jackson, Mississippi, and some issues came up where like my license got lost in transit, and I wasn't getting like responses to phone calls. I couldn't get in hold of everybody. So literally, like, even though I got licensed for the first like 8 to 9 months, I wasn't able to do anything because I didn't have all the paperwork that I needed to be like
Mhm.
official. And then by that time, I was like, well, I'm going to go through a move to Oxford. So there's no point in me even building a brand for the next 4 months that I'm here. So I'm just going to prepare to build my brand in Oxford.
Yeah.
And ended up switching agencies because there wasn't a Keller Williams in Oxford. There was a Remax, and I found a good person, kind of got on a phone call with him, and he's now my broker, and everything went really, really well. Things were a lot easier with him rather than with Keller Williams. And that's where I'm at now. So I've been living here since last August, and I've been kind of building up my brand a little bit, trying to get to know people because I'm not from Oxford, so I'm having to learn everybody here and learn how the city works and how the market works. So I'd say I've realistically only been doing it for about a year now.
About a year. Awesome. That's so cool. Like, yeah, honestly, I kind of have like the same background. Not the same exact, but like I was like in between picking two different things. I did want to be an engineer, or I did want to go into like marketing and advertising.
Right.
Um, One because with engineering, I was really good at math, but
Mhm.
I soon like I ended up taking like robotics class and like all these things. But I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I went the other way. But yeah, that's awesome, man. That's good to hear. And then I wanted to ask you, like, as of right now, like, what are you doing to like generate leads and then turn them into clients? Like, what's your strategies looking like for that?
So I've got a couple strategies that I work on, but I think right now I'm at an area where I'm wildly inconsistent. And the reason behind that is because I'm not entirely sure what's working and what's not working. I do a lot. So I have a website through my brokerage that I work on. I do a lot of like SEO pages where I'll create landing pages and stuff like that and try to get my link basically to my website to be ranked higher on Google so people see it when they look for certain subdivisions. So that's what I work on a lot right now, but I think it's a super saturated thing to do, given that Oxford is a relatively small city and there's relatively a good amount of realtors here that also do landing pages,
Mm,
that have had it for years that have way more than me. So that's why I'm like, okay, that's a little bit saturated to do it that way. I do a lot of social media posts, or I try to, but editing videos, editing pictures, stuff like that, it can take a lot of time.
right.
So it's like I'm trying to figure out what's working and what is going to be the most beneficial as far as efficiency goes. You know, I don't want to spend 10 hours on doing one thing if it doesn't generate anything. I'm trying to find something that's not super saturated, that's not super expensive. I don't mind paying, you know, a good amount, even like a very substantial amount of money if I know that is an efficient and cost productive thing to do. But
Mm,
it's just finding that efficient thing to do that I'm working on right now.
okay. So currently just like testing a bunch of different things and like seeing
Right.
the returns on those things and seeing like
Mhm.
just going in all in on one. Okay. Awesome. And then like I did want to ask you like in terms of your goals, like it could be like either in volume or your transactions, like what are your goals for like this year in 2023?
For this year, for 2023, for the time that I have left, I would like to realistically, I mean, what month is it right now? It's April. I'd like to close at least 3 to 6 deals this year. I think that is reasonable. You know, although I haven't had a deal close since I've been in Oxford, I think that how real estate works, from what I've gathered, is that once you get your first deal, which is one of the harder ones to get, especially if you don't have family and friends in the area,
Mhm.
it becomes kind of like a snowball effect to where now you're getting referrals. Now you have something to post. Now, you know, you have, it becomes easier after that,
Yeah,
for lack of a better word. Um, so realistically, I would like to close at least three, but I'm shooting for 5 to 6.
5 to 6. Okay, awesome. And then is there any reason behind that number or is that just like a milestone you want to hit?
I think I try to set realistic goals that are still challenging.
Mhm.
Um, I don't like to set goals that are super high, because like if I were to say 10, um, I think it, when you set goals that are obviously way too high for yourself, I think it kind of discourages you more than it encourages you.
Mm,
Big goals are a good thing, but I think you need to have realistic goals as well. So I say at least three, because I think that's going to push me really hard to really at least get that first one.
yeah,
If I can get at least three, then the whole purpose of the preferably 5 to 6 is because if I can get at least three, then I know I can get probably 5 to 6. So we're shooting for six, but at three is the bare minimum.
awesome. And then as far as like the area that you're working in, like what is like the average value of the home that you'd be working with? Or like what is like the range of that? What would that look like?
It varies a lot, I will say, because Oxford is a college town, Ole Miss, of course. But I would say that the average homes, I've had a lot of showings. I've got a few clients that I'm working with right now, and we're generally looking in the like 300,000 to 500,000 range. And I know that's a big number, like a big range, but you have everything from like residential houses that are right on the square, which are super, super expensive, to like little townhomes that are kind of on the outskirts and condos. So the prices vary wildly because there's so many different types of residences here.
Mm,
But if I had to put an average number on it, I know our average market price right now is around 480.
great. Okay, awesome. And I know you see you're relatively new, but have you ever worked with like anybody else to help grow your business?
No, I have not.
Okay. Okay, and then after like going into the system more and like explaining everything, like if things are a good fit, like how soon would you be looking to get started?
Honestly, there are limiting factors that come into play, and we'll discuss those as we go. But if it's a good fit and it's something that I am able to do right now, I'd be willing to get started. I mean, right off the bat.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, so I know I kind of just like asked you a bunch of like back-to-back questions, but
Hmm.
yeah, I just like to go in a little bit into like what about myself and like my experience that I've had. So as I mentioned in the DM that I sent you, I am a 21-year-old. I'm kind of like an entrepreneur. I have worked at two different agencies before, so what I have like experience like in the agency space as far as like media buying and running ads. Fast forward to now, actually, as you know, I created this agency, and the reason being is because I noticed a huge problem in the way these agencies ran their lead generation strategies. They were very successful. They had strategies in place where they can get leads for super cheap, and like all the data that they would present their clients would look amazing on paper, but in reality, the numbers weren't telling the full story, and the leads like that we were producing, although they were cheap and there were a lot of leads, they were very like low quality. And so this just caused like a bunch of things like clients would burn through like countless hours just calling up the leads, following up with essentially like anywhere up to like 300 to 500 leads every single month. And out of that, they would probably only get like a few, like 5 to 10 leads. So it was just like a lot of frustration with being constantly rejected and just a lot of time wasted. And on top of that, these agencies, of course, like they were very successful. So they were charging anywhere from like 5,000 to like $10,000 a month for the service. So if if for whatever reason, one of the clients couldn't like call all the leads, then of course like the good ones would slip through the cracks, and then they would end up like negative in their return on investment. So
Right.
that's one of the main reasons like why I created this agency. So first off, we do still implement the same like I call them top of funnel lead generation strategies. So the way we run like the Google ads, the Facebook ads to generate leads, we still follow those same like winning strategies because they are good. Like that's one of the reasons why they were successful. But we do have an entire on top of that, we do have an entire process that like swifts through the hundreds of leads we generate, and only like we only give you the serious home buyers and home sellers. So you wouldn't have to call up like hundreds of leads every single month and things like that. So
Right.
so yeah, so that's just a little bit about me and my experience. So I can go ahead and get into like the system that we have. So as I mentioned, like or want to begin with, I do want to mention that we only work with one agent or one team per area. So we would essentially have like a 50-mile radius around you, and we wouldn't work with anybody else. The reason being is because if we did have like two agents or three agents in one area, then we would essentially compete for the leads and like drive the ad cost up, which is basically bad for both sides, for your side and my side, because we wouldn't be getting the same exact results. But yeah, so we do that, and we actually only run Google ads to collect our leads. The reason being is because, as I mentioned, I've worked with pretty much every single platform you can run ads on, and I found that Google is like the platform where people have like the most intent to do something. So
Mhm.
so if you're gonna go on Google, you're gonna like ask a question you want to know the answer to. So say someone goes on Google and searches up like homes for sale near me or something like that, then like that's where our ad will pop up. And of course, like these people like have the intention to either know more about the home buying like process or actually like want to buy a home. But
Right.
so yeah, so once like these leads like go to our landing page, we actually have like a little survey where like this is like the first stage where we screen them, and this is where we get their name, their phone number, and their email. After they sign up, they basically essentially they go into our CRM system that we have. This is where like all of our leads will land. And as soon as they go into the system, we actually have an entire team of inside sales agents that call them during business hours, and so essentially, like once they go into the system, within the first 5 to 10 minutes, they will call the lead up. And if they don't answer, we do call up to 4 times within the first week that they come into the system. If they still don't answer, then we actually text them, and then we even call them up like 4 to 6 months after the fact that they came into the system. So we do follow up with them. And the way these phone calls work is whenever we call the lead, they're gonna either go one or two ways. They're either gonna turn into a live transfer or they're gonna turn into a booked appointment. So the way a live transfer works is after so actually let me explain like the process of us calling the leads first. So we're gonna call the leads up and we're gonna ask them like a long list of questions to qualify them. We're gonna ask them anything to like from like what's their budget looking like, how many beds and bath they want, are they pre-approved, do they care about living near a school, as we ask them like their timeline, which is one of the big ones, and just like a series of questions like that. It would be like a 10-minute conversation just so we know that they're serious, they're qualified, and they're looking to move forward in the home buying or home selling process. And so once we do have them qualified, then we're gonna go into, like I mentioned, one or two ways. We're gonna do a live transfer or a book deployment. With the live transfer, we're essentially just going to, while we have them on the phone call, after they've answered all the questions and we qualify them, we're going to call you up, and if you're free, we can give you all the information they just provided, and then we can merge the calls, and then of course
Mhm.
introduce you, and then essentially just leave the call, and then you can take care of the client from there, and then just work them. And of course, if you're not free, you may like be at a showing or you may be doing something else, then we actually like have an integrated calendar system where we see exactly like when you would be free, and we would just essentially like book an appointment on there without having to go back and forth with you.
Okay.
And of course, if they don't show up, we don't count that as like a booked appointment. So we will be following up with you on that part. But and then I do want to mention like all these leads, they might not be ready for a phone call right away. They may reject the first four phone calls within a month, and even the ones after like 4 to 6 months. So we do have an email drip campaign where we provide them value based emails, and in that we basically like help them along like their buying or home selling process, and we provide them value like every single week. And in that email, we also have like your contact information and like your phone number, so they could also end up calling you just from that email, or they could maybe reply to the email, and then one of our inside sales agents can call them up, qualify them, and then send them off to you. And just to provide some insight, out of all the leads we generate, it's mainly going to be buyers, but around like 20 to 30% will be sellers.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay. And then, do you have any questions for me as far as the entire system goes?
No, actually, I think you explained it pretty well. I'm actually very interested in this. I think this takes a lot of the nitty gritty work that I just brutally, honestly hate doing. The multiple follow ups, the trying to get people on the phone, the vetting process that you guys do with the questionnaire.
Yeah.
The live transfer part's pretty cool. We actually, my brokerage has access. I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I don't. I'm not specifically working with them. It's kind of like something my brokerage does.
Hmm.
I'm sure you might have heard of it. It's an app called OpCity.
Upside.
They basically send you like leads and stuff like that. But I have a big issue with that because it's not been very beneficial for me just because I can't always click on the notification within 10 seconds of it arriving because I'm racing other realtors. And
Right.
then most of the leads that they send in are like $60,000 budgets. And it's like, the cheapest
Yeah.
house in Oxford right now is 88,000. And that is the very, very cheapest. And then it immediately bumps up to 100, 120, 130.
Mm.
So it's like, yes, I work with OpCity, and they have like a good plan. It sounds good, but it doesn't necessarily work because, like I said, it's very saturated and you have to compete with other realtors. So the part where you're telling me, we're only working with, you and within a certain range,
Mhm.
that makes things so much more efficient for me.
Mhm.
So I think you've definitely piqued my interest here. I'm guess a good question to ask from here. That's never a fun question. Is like, how is the pricing of this working? Are you guys working on like a monthly subscription, or are you guys working on like a percentage off of a commission? How are
Yeah.
you doing that?
Yeah. So as I touched on earlier, like I did have experience with like the agencies that I worked at charge like anywhere up to like 5,000 to 10,000 per month, and as I mentioned, that could end up like not having a return on an investment. I just didn't like that fact. So the way I structured like the pricing structure for this system is basically for it would be like performance based. So just to provide some insight, like we do guarantee 10 leads within 30 days. If not, like you'll get all your money back. You won't face anything. And the reason being is because with 10 leads, we found that out of like once you get 10 of these, once you completely work them, you would essentially close like either one or two leads.
Wow.
And so we have that guarantee in place. And the way like our pricing system works is we don't charge monthly, we charge as soon as you get the not the lead, but the booked appointment or the live transfer. And of course, if it's a booked appointment, then if they don't show up, we don't count that. So once you get those, then we do charge 200 per lead. But if you do get started today, we have like an incentivized price like model where if you do get started today, then it would be half of that. It would just be 100 per lead. And of course, we do have the ad spend, so this wouldn't go towards us. So this would just go towards Google, so they can like so we could generate the leads off of there. And that would be we recommend $20 per day minimum, just so we can guarantee the 10 live transfer or booked appointments per month.
You said $20 a day or $20 2 day?
$20 today. Today.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. For
And of course, if we don't deliver on the 10 live transfers or booked appointments, and say we give you nine, we didn't deliver on our promise, so we would essentially refund you for all those nine. You could still work them, you could still potentially close them, but like I mentioned, since we didn't do 10, we would refund you all of that. And
okay,
I do want to mention I'm super confident like that we can provide you the results. So we don't have any like long-term contracts in place. We would just essentially be working month to month so we can like make sure we hit our guarantee for the month.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying you charge 200 by live transfer or booked appointment. Um, let's say, we get the live transfer. I'm on the phone with them, but like nothing comes out of it. There's no like booked appointment or anything. Does that count as a booked appointment, or like how does that work?
Yeah, so our job, so that if that were to happen, we didn't do our job correctly, and that would
Mhm.
be on us. So I wouldn't charge you for that. But our job is to make sure that we only give you like the serious people that are ready to buy or to close. And so as essentially that like the chances of that happening would be like very minimal.
Slim.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you say you charge by the, you charge by the appointment. So when you charge by the appointment, how's that transaction going to take place? I guess is what I'm saying. Is it going to immediately like deposit out of my bank account as soon as the appointment's booked? Or am you guys going to like send me something that I need to log in and then pay it from there? Like, how is that going to go?
Yeah, so we would essentially just have your card on file, so you wouldn't have to do anything on your end. But we would essentially, so if there's a live transfer, then of course we would just book it after we send that person over to you. But if there's a
Mhm.
booked appointment, then we wouldn't charge you as soon as like we book the appointment or as soon as the appointment takes place. We would essentially like contact you like maybe an hour or two after the fact, and we would ask you like, "Hey, did this person show up?" If they did, then we would charge you for it.
Got you. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So, all right, I think that clears a lot of things up. You need $20 today. If we start today, we need $20 today for ads. How often? What's the charge, and how often is the charge for running the ads?
Oh, sorry, I may have explained it a little bit weird. So the ad spend is $20 every day. So
Hmm.
it'd be $20. Like as soon as we get started, it wouldn't be $20 today, essentially. It would be $20 the moment we start the campaign.
Got you.
Right.
Um, and that's just like every day, all day, right?
Right. Yes. And of course, if we do end up pausing a campaign, then we may not spend any ad spend during that day. We may be doing like optimizations or anything
Mhm.
like that. But like the general rule of thumb is like basically we're going to be spending $20 a day.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So okay, I think this is something I am willing to give a shot. Honestly, I am in a bit like I'm pretty tight on finances right now. I think I can afford this, but I will say this: I want to give it a. When I say I want to give it a shot, I kind of am going to want to run like a trial. So I guess a good way to ask this is, if we do get started today, what is the policy as far as like, hey, this isn't working for me, or this isn't, I can't really afford this at the moment. Can we cancel or put this on hold for a while? Like, what's that policy?
Yeah, so essentially, like I mentioned, we are like month to month, so we have like so we can ensure that we deliver on the guarantee of 10 booked appointments or live transfers every month.
Mhm.
If you were to cancel before that, then since we didn't work the full month, we can't like refund you everything. But if you did work the entire month and we didn't provide you the 10 booked appointments or live transfers, then we would be able to refund you because we did work the 30 days. But
Mhm.
but yeah, like we're completely month to month. You can cancel at any time, and just as long as like you inform us, like at least.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was wondering. I'm not concerned about getting a refund. Like obviously if something goes severely wrong and the 10 leads don't come in or whatever,
Yeah.
then yeah, we'll talk about refunds. But like I'm just saying that, let's say I give it a try for, let's just say 2 weeks, which is half a month. And then I was like, $20 a day is starting to stack up. I kind of want to cancel. Is there going to be a cancellation fee? I'm not worried about getting those $20 a day back or the 200
Yeah.
if I spend any. I'm not worried about that. But is there going to be like a cancellation fee, or do I have to keep paying for the length of the month or anything like that?
No, there wouldn't be a cancellation fee or anything like that. We would just like
Okay.
we would just pause all the campaigns. We would, yeah, essentially just pause everything from there.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to give it a shot.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I mean, what we can do from here is essentially schedule an onboarding call where we can go over like all the accounts you need to set up and like how we can get you into our CRM system where you would like see all the leads and things like that. When would you be available anytime? Would you be available Friday to have the onboarding call?
Let me see. I think I should be, but I'm going to double check with you just in case.
Okay.
Friday. Yeah, I think Friday works at any time. What time slots do y'all have available?
I have does actually does now like this actually yeah, does 12 p.m. work for you?
12 p.m. Friday?
Yes.
Yes, that works.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So I'll send you that email afterwards. And then after this call, I will send you like the agreement and like basically like a few more questions where you can answer like so I can help set up the ads and things like that.
Okay.
And just if you could like have that filled out before the call, then that would be perfect. And then we could just have everything ready for the call.
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right, man. I appreciate you reaching out and you talking with me. I look forward to it.
Awesome, Brayden. It was good talking with you too.
Later, man.
All right. See ya.